Despite some dubious associations with the Nazi Party during World War II, Martin Heidegger is frequently cited as one of the key figures in existential philosophy and widely considered one of the most prolific philosophers in recent times. Heidegger was born in 1889 in Mesker, Germany, and got his degrees in theology and philosophy at the University of Freiburg. After teaching at the University of Marburg, he returned to Freiburg to assume its chairmanship, at which point he wrote his masterpiece, Being in Time, a complete reconceptualization of Cartesian philosophy that did away with the subject-object dichotomy in favor of a system that was more concerned with the nature of being and the relationships of entities within existence. Heidegger's philosophy is notoriously difficult and full of neologisms that require extensive practice to thoroughly grasp. So today we'll be discussing what might be considered the three most talked about entities in Heidegger's ontological investigation: Dasein, ready to hand, and present to hand, as well as a brief discussion about how they relate. First, let's define our terms. Dasein is a term that literally translates to being there, but refers to the type of being humans have, that being care or involvement with other entities in its world. In this way, Dasein is the meaning context for the being of other entities in its world. Ready to hand is a term that refers to entities that Dasein uses for the sake of which. When Dasein encounters these entities, it does not see whatever its factical nature is. It sees meaning. When one encounters a hammer, usually they don't see a hammer. They see something that drives nails into surfaces. Present at hand is used to describe entities that we circumspectively analyze for whatever reason, similar to science. Frequently, things become present at hand when they are absent or unready at hand. We generally don't consider a human hammer until we need one and it is not around, or if by some stroke of bad luck it happens to be broken. Now we will watch a quick clip from National Lampoon's 1983 movie Vacation, starring Chevy Chase, after which we will apply the terms we just talked about in a practical manner to the scene.
My sandwich is all wet.
Well, they're all wet, but... Oh, God. The dog went on the picnic basket.
Clark's most fundamental relationships are those that are ready to hand, such as the sandwich. Clark is not actively thinking about the condition of his sandwich at the rest stop. He simply picks it up with minimal active concern and gets ready to eat it. In this way, the sandwich is equipped mentally ready to hand for the sake of satiating his hunger until it becomes apparent that something is wrong with the sandwich. Prior to that moment, the sandwich is phenomenally farther away from Clark than anything else. He is not concerned with the sandwich as much as he is with Christy Brinkley in her red Ferrari. She is phenomenally closer to Clark than the sandwich because she is the phenomenon towards which he directs his concern. However, once Clark bites into the sandwich, it becomes conspicuous in its unready to handness, and simultaneously becomes present at hand as the object of circumspective concern. Clark spits out the food, and we can infer that he is actively thinking about what the sandwich is, or more precisely, what is wrong with it. In its obstinacy, it stands in the way of Clark's concern, that being attractive to Miss Brinkley, something that is uniquely precluding him from sharing his world with his family via discourse, since, as one might guess, Clark is engaging in a questionable behavior with a woman who is not his wife. As a side note, this scene also does a good job of presenting Dasein as meaning context for the entities in the world with which it is involved, as evidenced by the relative ambivalence of Aunt Edna's response to the urine-soaked sandwich. The sandwich is an entirely different entity for Clark than to Aunt Edna, and this becomes apparent in the state of mind and subsequent behavior the interaction causes to each.